Hello, Hearties. It's me, James Lott Jr., and When Calls the Heart Aftershow here on JLJ Media. I'm so glad to be back. And like I said last season, I couldn't really talk to anybody because we were fighting for our lives on the picket lines. I was at Sony Studios, passing out water, doing all kind of stuff. But now we're back. I get to talk to everybody. And so I'm happy to have Team FloMo on here, of course. My Australian princess, Loretta Walsh. We were talking neighbors before the show started. So,
Yes.
and my favorite redheads, of course, saw that last time, Johannah Newmarch. Hi,
Great
mate.
to be here. Great to be here.
I was happy to see you
Thank
both.
you for having us.
It's
And this is
my
my dog. She's insisting on being a part of this interview. This is Betty White.
that's her name. Oh my
Her name is
god.
Betty.
Yeah.
Look at her.
Hi,
I can't.
Betty. Oh my
I can't. She's too
beautiful.
She needs an agent.
And
She
sitting
needs
up.
an
And sitting
literally
up.
get her an agent.
Wait, now she's scratching herself, but she was sitting up like, hi, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm ready for my close-up.
yeah, I love it.
Anyway, sorry. Hopefully she's not going to be too distracting.
I don't care. I love dogs. That's fine.
If
Now
she
we get
is,
her
I'll
tail.
kick her
Now
out.
it's her tail.
Yeah, and it's just all like this.
Yeah, I think that Florence should have a dog and just carry her around.
Like a little teacup dog. Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
That would be cute because it's only the one dog so far. It's Scout so far. There's not like more than one. I don't think. Yeah.
Let's just pause and call Lindsay right now. What do you say, Loretta? She's writing as we speak. Give her that idea.
I was thinking.
Yeah.
I love that. I did. Well, hello, ladies. It's good to see you both. I want first to ask you, how are you all doing? We had a little thing happen with Mamie, of course, and I just want to know how both of you are doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really hard. I'm not going to lie. It's a devastating tragedy. That's really the right word for it. Obviously her family is struggling deeply right now. But it's the fact that she's still with us, and we're just going to have to see what the days and weeks and months ahead show. But we're all really grateful for the wonderful outpouring of love and prayer and support. And those of you who've donated financially, the family is just deeply grateful that allows them to be by their daughter's side for several months, which is just, as you can imagine, everything for them. So just, very, very heavy, but we're all getting through it as a community, which is what we do best on When Calls the Heart. So.
Yes. Loretta, any words?
You know what, Johannah, I think you said it very, very well. And I know that you have a very close relationship, with Mamie and her family. And I certainly know Mamie from When Calls the Heart. And, just whenever something happens within our Hearty community, it really is always a shock, to the system. But what I love about our cast and our crew and our community, and that also really extends to the fans, is that when something goes down, everybody does really show up for each other. And so we're sending nothing but love and well wishes to Mamie and to her family. And it's very, very heartening to see the other support that people have been giving, and so thank you for that. I'm always really heartened when difficult things bring out the best in people, and so thank you for that.
I totally both said I agree, and I did a little prayer for her on my last show. People said they appreciated that beginning. Just because it's like the Hardys do come together. They do. Them Hardys communities come. I've been the receiving end of it myself in the past. They do kind of, the fans really do come together, and that's why the show is so wonderful. And going to season 12. Well, that's a big. I'm right. I've been in from the very beginning, so I'm like, this is kind of like, okay, but we'll get to that in a second. But I want to talk about some of the positive things because I didn't talk to you last season. She came back, so I want to find out, when did you find out, Johanna, when she's coming back? Same actress, a little older, but that Rosalita is coming back to the show.
Yes, well, it actually wasn't, they were still formalizing it all until not that soon before we began shooting season 10. So it was actually, I heard some rumblings, and obviously I was extremely excited, but this changeable industry that we're in, it's never a done deal till it's a done deal. So I think I only found out, shortly before we started shooting. So I was, obviously extremely pleased because, I just knew what it would mean to me and the cast and the fans. I just knew they'd be ecstatic because, she's been, people have been wondering for a long time.
Yes.
And yeah, it was just really, really beautiful and meaningful for her to come back. Yeah.
Well, Loretta and you both, they have called to your past
Yes.
on the show, because for a long time running show, they literally can do that. So that must be a very nice for your characters to
Yes.
because we all start. I mean, there was the whole coal mine. It was the whole. I mean, it was the widows. It was the. I mean, we remember it was the whole thing, and so it's kind of cool that both of you guys have had a chance to dig back there. So Loretta, what was that like for you to, when they decide to go back into, her past a little bit, what that feels like?
I think it's great. I mean, this is my first time being on a show for this long. I mean, I think for so many of us. And so to just be able to explore different parts of your character and for them to not forget, the things that have been meaningful to these characters in the past. And I think, collectively, the writers and the powers that be who decide where the stories are going have really done a good job of that, of not forgetting, like, okay, well, this character went through something. Yeah, I think it was really interesting, for Florence to sort of, I guess for a good term is she got very triggered, Florence and Molly did when some things went down in season 10. And so particularly with Gowan, there really
Yes.
such an extraordinary amount of upheaval. And I think Florence was out of her mind for a while there. I think, she was really triggered and a whole bunch of big feelings came back to her. I think if you remember, she even wound up and actually slapped Gowan's character across the face. I mean, for a character that's so sort of controlled and very concerned with etiquette and good manners, for her to be so far outside of herself that she would do something like that was pretty shocking, I think, in a way. But it was great because it meant that it was a reminder of the past, and also a really big event that then has sort of, I think, helped her move on to a new thing, and move into a new realm of relationship with the past, and also with Gowan and, with Molly and the other women as well. So I think it just really deepens the storytelling, when we do reflect back and we remember, oh, these people are not just going, it's not a blank slate episode by episode, right? It's like we're bringing a whole bunch of experiences and stories with us from the past.
Yeah. Now, what was it like for an actress to do the slapping? I always wonder what that's like. I've never been slapped or slapped anybody on camera, so I'm just really curious. It's just fun.
It was great. I mean, we had a stunt coordinator to fully help us like choreograph it. It was really a dance, between Martin and myself, right? We just really figure it out like movement by movement so that he's safe, so that no contact is actually made at all. And so that means, we work with also the director, of course, Neil Fernley, who was setting up the shot, the director of photography, the camera department. Everybody is working to tell that story so that it can be done in a really effective way, but that nobody gets hurt, that nobody actually gets hit, So it was fun. It was really fun to do a stunt, Rothgar and I had also, we'd gotten to do a stunt earlier in the season when we were crossing the street and there were cars going back and forth.
Yes.
We had the stunt coordinator there for that as well, because we really had to get the timing right, because it's moving vehicles.
Right.
And Rothgar and I were like, look at us, we're stunt people. Like we were so like, we're like action stars. It's amazing. So it was really fun.
Yeah, and I remember that whole sequence about the town having traffic made me laugh so much. that season. But you're right. I never thought about the one. You had to be. I guess you had. I mean, there were actually cars and horses and things.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
Well, and
no
that
AI. We're really doing it.
that
Yes.
beautiful scene. Do you remember with Pascal going into labor and we're all
Yes.
Loretta sprinting down the road? That was so much like that was the most fun we've had as an ensemble in a long time. That was
Oh, how
just
funny! You guys had a good time with that. That was a fun scene too. That was
Oh.
a good scene too.
so much fun. Yeah.
Oh my god! But now for you, right? You had. We talk about Gowan bringing Rosaline back. Really brought up. I appreciate the story. I mean, it brought up the whole story. So tell me, please, about that.
Agreed. And, I have to give, Mamie, who's a wonderful actress, that just a shout. I mean, she did many lovely scenes, but that scene in the stable where she says like,
Oh.
hey, oh my goodness, just, what I loved about her performance was the acting between the lines, like what was in the silences, in those
Yes.
pregnant pauses, just how
Yes.
rich the emotion was. I thought she did a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful job of hitting just that note. Even though I knew it was coming when I was watching it, I was a mess. Yeah, so I thought that was so
I
beautiful,
agree.
and it was so special to be able to. Unfortunately, and this is, I'm not complaining. It happens all the time on our show where, we shoot lovely scenes that just don't make it into the final edit. So, I understand why this had to happen because it was a lengthy scene.
Yeah.
We only have 42 minutes,
Yeah.
of screen time. So unfortunately that scene where, and I did post it on social media, but the scene where I was able to say, when she was saying like, how do you be here still, Mom, with all of this? And I was able to say, well, I lean on my friends and my family, but he's also still here with us. That was really beautiful to be able to go on that arc with her, to share my healing with her and try and give her some of that so that she could find some peace within herself. Because, I do think it makes a lot of sense that, she, her child self was sort of, traumatized, obviously deeply by that event. And then,
Yes.
she went on with her life and did other things and hasn't really had a chance to, metabolize all of that. And so her coming back into the town was deeply meaningful. And I was also really just so touched to hear that, there's obviously a whole bunch of wonderful storylines that season, but apparently it was one of the Hardys' favorite storylines for that season. And that obviously meant a lot to me. And particularly in light of, I can't talk about it too much or I'll get choked up.
Okay.
Particularly in light of what's just happened, just the fact that she was able to be there was really beautiful. Yeah.
Yes. No, and she did beautiful work. That's why I said I want to showcase she did beautiful work. You're right. It was the things not said. It felt very realistic.
Exactly.
But you did beautiful work too because you're the mother, but also you're the person who stayed behind.
Yeah.
And you were the adult. And we know how hard that can be.
Yeah.
You're trying to be there for your daughter. But but obviously you must have your own feeling. I mean, your characters are you. Your character must have his own feelings too, right? I mean, probably were brought up also, right?
Of course, yes, of course. And we, our town has gone on a very long and complicated journey with Gowan.
Yes, yes. Yes. I never thought I would ever like him. I never thought I would ever like the character ever.
Right. And that's a testament to Martin that he could believably make that arc over those years and still have everybody loving him and rooting for him. I mean, what a wonderful person and extraordinary actor. So yeah, so it did bring up, and as and obviously I was the one that stood beside Loretta when the slap happened, and I was like, yeah, sir, that's what you get. So yeah, we've, our friendship, has gone through so much over the years of trying to resolve that core event that, basically started our show off. And it's interesting because we've done different iterations of it, right? Loretta with the lawsuit, and then the various, over all the seasons that it's been revisited in small and large ways. Yeah, I really appreciate that they haven't tried to sanitize that even, our show needs to be, a place where people can go and know that they're going to feel good vibes. I think it's quite wonderful the way that various showrunners have addressed that ongoing, underlying, scar that our town holds, and I think they've done it in a way that's, not overly, hurt, painful or dramatic, but also doesn't whitewash it or pretend it never happened. So yeah, it's been really a meaningful journey. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, and I forgot that lawsuit, that whole thing too, Laura. I forgot about that.
Right.
That's right. They always seem to go back with both you guys at some point to revisit that.
Yes.
Because this town was born out of that whole situation, basically. Right, Loretta? Go ahead, Loretta.
Right. I think what one of the things that When Calls the Heart does really well is when something does go down, nobody is ever alone. And so that's just a really beautiful part, I think, of the fabric of what Hope Valley is in the community, is that when somebody is going through a difficult time, your friends, they show up for you in whatever way that might be, whether they just know that you just need someone to be with you right now, or if you want to talk about it, or if you want to take your mind off it, or if you actually actively want solutions. I think that we all value, those people in our lives who, when they know the times are tough, they show up. And so I think that When Calls the Heart really, really represents that, and is a beautiful thing, even though there are problems, even though things happen, people fall down, people get hurt. Their people show up for them, and so I think that that's just so heartening and positive and lovely.
You're part of 2 partnerships on screen. That was very interesting. So can you just kind of tell us, like, maybe some of the differences between, your marriage, on-screen marriage, but your on-screen FloMo
Yeah.
relationship? I mean, it's like you get 2 of the best things. You have a best friend and a best friend, so to speak. You have a best friend you're married to and a best friend. Like, I love that you get to do. Can you tell us about that, the little differences about that?
Totally. Well, I think that in some ways, that the sisterhood between Florence and Molly is so strong because they've been through so many things together, and
Yes.
they really are, ride or die. They really are, Thelma and Louise, Ethel and Lucy. They really are like,
Yeah.
just they have that deep friendship, and like true friends, right? They can kind of play together, they can be there for each other, they can also they know each other deeply, and man, isn't that such a powerful thing? I just think that to be known, to be really known for who you are, is such a beautiful part of being alive. And I think that Molly and Florence really see each other because they've been through a lot of things together, and they've had kids together, and went into the mines together, and they really are deep, deep friends. I think for Ned and Florence, it's kind of like a second chance at something that neither of them saw coming.
Right.
So it's almost like, oh, I didn't, I think, for Florence, she never expected that she would fall in love again.
Yeah.
I think she sort of thought, well, that's it, that's okay. What I had with my first husband was special and beautiful and completely devastating and
Oh,
heartbreaking to lose. And so I don't think she was very open, to another opportunity at love. And so, yeah, I think it's like a new chapter. It really is, in that realm. But listen, I think that Ned and Florence do have their own friendship. And, somebody asked me recently, do you think that Ned and Florence go home and like gossip? And I said, yes, I do. Absolutely. Yes, I absolutely do. I think in their private moments, they're, oh, you know, but in their public moments, I think they're very, very proper and well
yes.
put together, upstanding members of the community. But
Ooh, good.
they have it's a different closeness, for Florence, depending on who's who. But honestly, in some ways, I think that Molly knows Florence deeper than anybody
I would
because
say so too.
they've just had so much time together.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I love the way that in the way that when you know someone well and you know that they have your back, you're allowed to like sort of tease each other in these
Exactly.
ways. Like I thought, for example, that little where we sat down in the cafe in this Queen of Hearts before I went over to, ask Jack Wagner, or Bill, when he was sitting with with Lucas's mother, right? And I was like, who is this hussy he's sitting with? And you're like, I think you're a bit
Yeah,
ill-tempered and
you're
hungry,
like,
Molly. Yeah, right, right.
"You're
Before I march
there."
over there. but just these funny little asides, I think you're a bit tired and hangry, really, basically. And just these funny little asides that they say to each other. And, just those wonderful little slightly persnickety, but teasy, but loving kind of things that you do with a friend, right? Who's exasperating or having a moment, right? And also from Molly's perspective, watching her friend, and I mean, everybody's commented on this, but it was done so well. Florence, has had various chapters where she's a little bit highly strung, a little bit uptight, a little persnickety. And then Ned again could be a little bit, a little grumpy, a little gruff, whatever.
Yes.
And that they brought out this incredible sort of, I'm almost childlike sort of sweetness and play in each other, that we see them like singing and dancing and having these little sort of sweet, like darling, romantic little moments in the mercantile between, like, just, it's so sweet. It's just.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, and you guys say you sing the song together, Bicycle for Two. You're out there singing together. It's like, it's so cute.
No.
I know,
A bicycle made for two of all songs.
Of all songs, I love that. I just love that. Can you talk about that scene? I mean, so did you guys really sing that?
Oh yeah.
So,
Oh yeah.
but I'm sure it was probably recorded in a studio. Did you lip sync or did you sing it live, or how was it?
No. I mean, all of the above.
Okay.
So we would sing it live on the day.
Okay.
And when we're accompanied by music, we have little ear earwigs so that we can actually hear, so we can try and stay to time.
Yeah.
But then usually we end up in the studio afterwards as well, just to clean it up, and make sure that everything's tickety-boo. But yeah, it's so fun.
And it's usually because, Loretta, because there's an airplane. It wasn't because their singing wasn't fabulous on the day. It's because there's like gravel sounds with the horses in the background and planes. And no, I'm not even kidding. So even if you do a lovely job on the day, you've got to kind of tweak it in studio to make up for the ambient noise, so to speak.
That's true. But so fun. I mean, honestly, if you had told me in season 1, in 10 seasons, you and Rothgar are going to have more than one chance to sing and dance and perform, I would have been like, what? Are we talking about the same character?
I know, right? It's like this. I just keep thinking to myself, going, wow, we're in season 11, and I've watched these characters, most of you, from the beginning. I mean, or in season 2, it's still long enough, or even season 3, that's still 9, 60 hours, can you math? But you know what I mean? Like, it's a long time. And it's fun. You think, wow, they're going there now. I would have never guessed from the beginning, especially all the women. I mean, that's how it was in the beginning, was all the women. And now we still have the women, but the town is expanding. And so for you guys, it looks like to us, because we're watching on screen, that is larger extra numbers for extras, and the town is growing. Are you guys feeling that too while you're on set? Are you feeling the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you say, Loretta? Like, and we've also sort of incorporated, like, that was fun. I don't think we've seen in quite the way that we did this last few episodes, the Voices of the Valley. That was a neat idea to bring other towns, really. I mean, we sort of talked about it, but I think that was one of the times that you actually got to experience it. Felt special. It felt fun. Yeah. Didn't it, Loretta?
Totally. Yeah. Totally. Yeah, no, I think that's a very good point. I think, there's, it's interesting because Hope Valley is really a character within
by itself,
show, right? And so we always are sort of coming up against these expansion, storylines. People are coming to us, or we're expanding, or we're joining forces with another town. And I think that that's really cool and really interesting. And there's always seems to be that fight to keep the integrity and the heart and the community of Hope Valley. It's like, okay, how do we expand? How do we, bring more money into the town? How do we reach more people? How do we connect with more people, but also still keep that Hope Valley specialness, which is something that I think, all of the characters actively, whether they consciously or unconsciously, are fighting for those values and finding for those connections within that tight-knit community. And so it's lovely to be able to play both of those ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I know Hope Valley is its own character. Some shows that happens where the town or the city becomes part of it. I just know for us on screen, we're watching on screen that is expanding. We're seeing lots of diversity in the background. Like I said, more cars are coming every season. Like, it's just we can see it. We were watching it. So I'm just saying because you guys are on the set. I wanted you guys basically answer my question. Yes, you're feeling it also. The stages, I mean, everything is starting. It's really becoming this really big town.
I know.
I can believe it.
Know.
I mean, and,
know.
and we're in the late 20s. I think the late 20s, right?
We
Maybe
are in the early
early
20s.
20s.
Early 20s, early 20s. Okay, early 20s.
Oh my gosh. And I have to give a shout out to Barbara Gregusova, who does, miracles on our show with the wardrobe. But that the Voices of the Valley, I mean, I'm a clothes horse. I love fashion, but the Voices of the Valley, some of those ladies who showed up for just those couple days going by in these incredible, I remember being like, I was nudging Loretta all the time, being like, look at that hat, look at that hat. She looks so incredible. These fabulous 1920s, because they were, and also with the resort, there was sort of some upscale clientele that was, visiting the resort. So she got to kind of, try and give people sort of upscale early 1920s, which is such a gorgeous era for clothing. Goodness.
I love it.
I was just ogling everybody who went by. People are like, Johannah, we're shooting a scene here. Can you pay attention? I'm like, oh, sorry. Just distracted by her fabulous hat.
I love it. So our FloMo, I guess, I'm trying to find the words because I mean, are you guys part of you're part of the heart of this town, but of the stature of the town? There's like certain people that come together. I think it's the council they call it. And said, you guys are part of that, aren't you? You're both a part of that, kind of. Or?
I mean, we're OG for sure, and depending on the shooting schedule, sometimes we're there and sometimes we're not. I would say that Loretta is there probably more consistently than Molly because of the Mercantile and because of Rothgar. Yeah. But I mean.
Yeah, and in terms of the town council, I mean, yes, Florence has definitely sat on the town council and Ned has as well. And it changes, depending on sort of what's going on. But I think definitely, we're definitely OGs. And, what I love about Hope Valley is that it's always been a very feminist place,
Yes.
Right from the beginning, equality across the board, And so, women have always had a say in what's going on. Whenever there's an election, there was never a time where it's like, oh, well, the women don't vote. It was like, oh, no, the women's voices will be heard as well. It's not even, pointed to, right? So we're around and I think for our characters, when we are not in a personal storyline, we're really representing the people of Hope Valley. And so we represent the emotional temperature and what people are talking about, which we just saw last night, with Ned and Molly and Florence being pretty disdainful and unhappy with Mr. Montague. It's like, yes, and that's how Hope Valley is feeling about his presence. And so, we will make our voices heard, James.
Yes, and
let's just say that.
Well, either with a single look, my daughter calls it the look.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
The look. Yeah. So we gave Montague the look. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you both are just lovely, off camera, on camera. Amazing work. Thank you, ladies, for taking the time with me today.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you. It's so nice to see you again. And
I'm so excited to finally meet you. And thank you for being such a champion for our show. It means a lot. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you. I love the show, and I will be a Hardy for life. And yes, I'll be, I will be there in September.
Fantastic.
So I'll be there. Folks, thanks for watching the show. Now the show is on Sundays. We only have 3-4 episodes left.
Can you believe that?
I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe it. It's nail biting. And then of course there is a season 12. So we got that to look forward to. I mean, this show can go on, I think go on forever. It's season 12. And so I want to say thanks to everyone on the show. Thanks to everybody for watching my show, all the Hardys out there. Please take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.